Hey, what's up? It's E. Smith here, former IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the world. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Sporting Icons. Cheers.
Now, the last time Jermall Charlo, the WBC Middleweight World Champion, fought, Chris Eubank Jr. was in the co-main event or the chief support of that card, which of course got a lot of people talking about, well, is this being set up to have a Jermall Charlo versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight as a main event, of course, for the WBC Middleweight World title. And that will be fantastic. And that's the kind of fight that here in the UK and in America, people would tune in to watch, because people have been waiting for Charlo to step up for quite some time. But while he's a talented fighter, he talks a lot but don't do a lot. He says how he wants Triple G, doesn't do anything about it. He says how he wants a Canelo, doesn't take any kind of offer. He talks about unifying the division, gets a huge life-changing money opportunity against Andre, doesn't take it. And it goes on and on and on. So he seems to be of that PBC mold of talk a lot but don't do a lot. But with Chris Eubank Jr., I think that Charlo will probably look at Chris Eubank Jr. and think, well, you know what, he's got 2 losses on his resume against George Groves and Billy Joe Saunders, so he's susceptible. Yeah, I quite fancy that one, and he's a decent name. Let's get it on. And I hope that's what his mindset is. But for me, and I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I think that Chris Eubank Jr. actually beats Charlo. But anyway, how would I know unless we actually see the fight? Now, Chris Eubank Jr., he's spoken about Charlo, where he says he doesn't really like him, and he can't wait to shut him up. He can't wait to bring him down a peg or two. In fact, we'll go straight into his statement. Charlo, he's not a likeable guy. Some people say that I'm arrogant or cocky, but I'm actually down to earth, a decent guy. This guy's head is in the clouds. He thinks he's more than what he is. I will take great pleasure in taking him down a peg or two. So that's Chris Eubank Jr.'s statement. Now, he is going on about other things that's going on around him with his trainer and this, that and the other, which is all looking pretty good for him. And he's over there in America, or at least that's the impression I'm getting by the article, that he's still over there in America and keeping busy. So that's great. Now, a fight with him and Charlo, that's a fight that here in the UK and in America, people would tune in to watch. Because people, while I think a lot of us look at Charlo and think, you could be the real deal. You genuinely could. We don't know. Maybe he could beat Andre. Maybe he could beat Triple G today. I mean, a couple of years ago, no chance. But today, potentially, yes. Canelo, I wouldn't have thought so. But there's quite a few fights out there that people would love to see Jermall Charlo take. Now, he talks a lot, much like his twin brother, the smaller one, in Jermall, where they talk a lot, but don't act on this. I don't know whether or not that they are deliberately being protected by the PBC. I don't know whether or not that they are intentionally taking fights that they shouldn't really be taking. I mean, Jermall Charlo, let's be realistic about it. He was given that title. He never won that title. That WBC Middleweight World title, he got there and he got that belt because he was IBF champion for super welterweight. Then he moved up to middleweight and gets put in the #1 position of the WBC without doing anything for the WBC or at middleweight, but gets moved straight away to #1. Not as mandatory, but as the #1. So if a final eliminator was to happen, it would be him. And eventually when he did take some of these elimination fights, they were against absolute bin men. They really were. So when Canelo Alvarez, he gets made franchise champion, which is complete crap, by the way. I don't know why Canelo would accept a franchise championship, much like Lomachenko. Why would you accept a franchise? Don't you want to be undisputed? You can't be undisputed by being franchised. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion on that particular situation. But Charlo, he gets the belt by default. Now, you can't blame him, not at all. And any other fighter in the world in his position would also accept the belt. And fair play. And he is on record a world champion. But a lot of people look at him as a paper champion, especially when his first defense of the belt was against, what, a junior middleweight who lost the fight beforehand against Heyman Guia. So when you look at it, you have to look at it and go, but he's been professional for quite some time. He's had a hell of a lot of fights, let's be honest, but against he's had a couple of good wins, but nothing that make you go, ooh, that was good. Ooh, he could be a Hall of Famer one day. Ooh, he's the real deal. people look at him and go, you've got all the talent in the world. You look good, you speak good, all that kind of stuff. But what is it that you're actually doing inside that squared circle? Who is it that you're fighting? So when it comes to a Chris Eubank Jr., that will get people talking. And I'm pretty sure that Charlo would take the Chris Eubank Jr. fight because he has seen on Chris Eubank Jr.'s resume that he's got 2 losses. But again, George Groves and Billy Joe Saunders would beat the living hell out of Charlo. I think Billy Joe Saunders would just outbox him, embarrass him, and George Groves would stop him. Honestly, that's how I see it. And that's not me being British biased. That's just how I genuinely see it. And Chris Eubank Jr., he's a very, very good talent. I think that he's underrated. I know a lot of people don't like him, and a lot of it's because of his dad. A lot of people don't like him because of his dad. But I mean, I do quite like him. And he is a exceptional talent. There are certain things that I don't like. I didn't like the fact that he went the longest time of having Ronnie Davis, but not actually use him. Being arrogant, telling him to shut up and ignoring him and this, that and the other, and doing what he wants to do. Breaking down his own fights, not taking any kind of advice. But now he seems to have corrected that, which is fantastic. But the thing is, with this kind of fight, it's a fight that would excite me. To be honest with you, it would. I would love to see this fight, and I fully believe that Chris Eubank Jr., if he turns up in good form, ready to win, he'll do it. I don't see Charlo beating Chris Eubank Jr. I don't see him stopping Chris Eubank Jr. And I can't see him outboxing Chris Eubank Jr., which is a little bit of a contradiction in some of the things that I'm saying, because Chris Eubank Jr., he throws punches and bunches, but his boxing has let him down. Even though he's got the ability, he doesn't do it on fight night. He wants this spectacular knockout. He wants the result where people go, oh, did you see that stoppage? That's what he wants. But we could see, okay, he did it against a very much declined James DeGale, but still, it was a pretty good victory and a very solid performance as well. But either way, on this fight, yes, I think that Chris Eubank Jr. beats Charlo. Generally, I do. And I hope that the fight happens. There's been talk about it for quite some time. But obviously, with this whole lockdown situation, Charlo will probably use that as some kind of excuse. Well, you know, I've been out of the ring and I haven't really been fighting. I haven't done this, that and the other. So I need a bit of a tune-up fight just to get back in there. That's his kind of mentality. That's his character. Even though every other fighter on the planet has been out of the ring the same amount of time as he has, especially Chris Eubank Jr. The last fought on the same card. So there's no real excuse to duck Chris Eubank Jr. But it is what it is. I mean, both of these are PBC fighters, so it's a natural fight to make. Charlo, he's turned down opportunities to fight Canelo for huge money. He's turned down the opportunity to fight Demetrius Andrade for huge money. And enough of it now. Enough of it. It's time, at this stage of his career, prove it or lose it. As simple as that, isn't it? Anyway, hopefully we get to see this fight, but Chris Eubank Jr., he's thrown a little bit of mud his way by saying that he doesn't actually like Jermall Charlo, and he's looking forward to knocking him down a bit. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all on the next video.